Hi everyone, this is your favorite friend Jay or Jaylan Salah as you formerly know her, film critic at Geek Vibes Nation and In Session Film. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing director Sarra Tsorakidis to talk about her film Inkwash, which is honestly a breath of fresh air in a film scene that, yes, has a lot of creative titles, but not this way. It comes from a different angle. It talks about a different category of humans. It talks about, I think, a different lifestyle. But for me, it felt very familiar as a former intellect who was very active in her local intellectual scene. So, Sarah, first of all, thank you for agreeing to talk to me.
I'm so happy to be here. Actually, I was very happy to receive your invitation, and I'm very excited to talk about the film as well.
What inspired you to create this tale?
Um, Everything started with my co-writer, Ilinka Hărnuț, who also stars in the film as the main character. And we had already made a short film together where she also starred in the main character role. And we became friends after that very quickly. And we were talking about what we feel we really need to do, actually. So I really wanted to make a first feature. She really wanted to make a role that she would feel represented her. And we were both in our early 30s initially, but then as we grew older, the character also evolved and grew older as well with us. And we really wanted to make a film about what it is to be a woman artist in a country like Romania and what it feels like to not to have to navigate this whole thing, especially during this time in your life when society expects you to settle down, have a family, and we felt that we can't really do them both at the same time because it is very difficult to do actually. And so we decided to write a script about this moment in a human being's life that feels like a crossroads.
Definitely. For me, as a 30-something woman, I'm almost 40, a poet, an artist, whatever. I also felt very connected to the part. There was a beautiful scene where she meets an ex and he has now a younger girlfriend. And there's this intense conversation about having kids, which, by the way, kind of hit me so hard and really on an emotional level because it felt so realistic. Like, imagine yourself in this woman's foot, seeing and listening to that. So I want to know, like, how did you navigate the idea of the life of the woman artist, but not just from a surface level, like what she does and whatever, but also internally? Because I hate it when it's like false feminism where we're like, I don't care. But what if I cared? And at the same time, I love my career, I love my art. You have a middle place and you captured that middle place perfectly.
Well, actually, you make a very good point when you talk about feminism because it is a subject that's very important to me. But we have to talk about the fact that it has become a little bit extreme in some way. And
Thank you.
so
Yes.
that is not what, and it doesn't do justice to the movement, which is very important. And I encourage everyone to be a feminist. We just want equal rights. It's in 2025. We need to explain it over and over again, but maybe the term is the problem. I don't know. Maybe we have to adjust it or something. But you definitely can want a family and want a career at the same time. And because first of all, you're a human being. Everybody is a human being first and foremost.
True.
So we did decide on this female artist as the shell of the character, but before that, she's also human, right? So that was the soft spot that we wanted to go with. That was the flow we wanted to go with, like the humanity of the character, which for me, it's very important to show that women, we have the right to have qualities that are good and bad. We have the right to not know how to react in some situations. Also, another very important theme for me is this depression doesn't look like most people think it does. You can very well be functioning, very well thrive in some aspects, and but at the same time battle this in your intimacy. And so I felt that this type of experience, human experience, isn't highlighted enough. And maybe that's what drove me. But also, it comes from a very personal point. It wasn't very difficult to just The difficult part is learning how to open up, you know. But then
100%. Yes.
it comes, everybody helps out because as long as you're authentic, let's say, people are drawn to that, you know. And so we created this together.
No. I also love how you didn't just say it overtly, but through the way the character Lena goes through, you show the loneliness of the female artist. Because yes, when I'm driven and I love my art probably more than anything, but at the same time I'm a woman and I have needs and there are things that I need. But when I love my art above all, my career or my like path is lonely, and there's a lot of things that fall down the way. So I love how you portray that without being overt or saying it in my face. Through watching Lena, she's a lonely woman doing everything lonely, meeting people for fleeting moments or fleeting relationships, and then she's lonely. So I want your comment on that.
You noticed it beautifully, actually. It is a lonely experience because to be fair, there's a few people that are not intimidated by this sort of shine. You know, when you create, when you're an artist and you create and you're actually fulfilled by what you do, because being good or bad is a subjective situation, but if you're feeling fulfilled and you feel complete and you radiate this energy that you know that this is who you are, that intimidates a lot of people, and that can be very lonely because we as human beings crave community. We need to be part of a community, even though you can create when you're alone or whatever your process is. Community is very important. So that's why it comes sort of hand in hand with depression or certain alienating feelings, you know. Um, but yeah, I wanted to show that it's not a problem to admit that you're going through dark phases in life, and that doesn't make you a less powerful woman or a less complete woman. That's why Lena is not the typical depressed woman, you know. She can make a joke. She knows how to pull herself back up over and over again. And that for me is very inspiring. That's why when people ask me if I feel that the ending is sad, or for me, it's a very optimistic ending, you know, even if she cries, it's very releasing. So I don't know. I just wanted to show the beauty and the power in being vulnerable.
100%. And I also love that it shows how easy it is for a male artist not to be lonely. There will always be a partner in his life, kind of like accommodating to the lifestyle. But when you put the female artist as the center, because she's the one who has the talent, it's very rare to have that partner understanding that I'm gonna be there for her and support and stuff. So that kind of like showed through Lena's journey throughout the film.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. It
exact.
sort of begins with that, with her partner of 8 years who couldn't, because it is a recurring situation. I have so many wonderful women artists, friends that are single, and but to at the same time, this has to open up the discussion that there is a problem even for men because of patriarchy. So that's why feminism is important, to discuss this for everybody.
100%.
I'm not okay with the misandry, or how do you pronounce it in English? I don't know, the equivalent of misogyny for men,
Yes,
which is
misandry.
what feminism kind of has become sometimes, like
Yes.
the extremism use of it. So I don't, we have to open the conversation as best as we can, and I hope that this film helps a little bit, you know, to
Can
show it.
see that. I can see that. What I love are the choices, the creative choices, the angles. Most of the time, Lena is at like a corner of the screen and there are long shots and it's wide shots. Why did you go through these creative choices specifically to shoot her from a distance for us?
I wanted the camera to be, in a way, objective, but at the same time to be the sort of point of view of her artistry, if it makes sense. So as if this is the point of view that she clicks into when she wants to paint something, or how that part of her um, notices her environment when she is there, because it's not in a realist, it is realistic because what happens is real and I show it all, but at the same time the angle is very uh, it's similar to the building in a way. It's very architectural. And because at the same time, the building is her subconscious, let's say. So her broken heart that has to be reconstructed. Why it's going through renovation, literally, you know?
Beautiful. That's a beautiful allegory. Wow. I want to ask about one of the characters that appears very fleeting, but I felt so touched by his portrayal. Ronnie, or Rafi, as he told his real name. I
Yes.
love that most of the time people are talking not at him, but about him. And
Yes.
at the same time, when he was like talking to her, no, I'm from Morocco. And she's like, I thought you were from Syria. No, my name is, but why didn't you tell people your real name? People just assume, oh, he knows English. He actually knows Romanian. So how did you get inside a character so closely and honestly through such an human and a very intimate space, unlike many films where I see you are looking from above, as if you're a snob director shooting your subject.
Because that's exactly what happens most of the time, to be honest. I mean, I notice it. I'm very, um, w- when I see political correctness that is fake, I notice it and it's really bothering me. This is a thing that actually bothers me. And we really wanted to show this without we just wanted to people who understand will understand, you know, without screaming it in your face, because that would also be moralistic. So I that's not my purpose to be moralistic to anyone, because I'm not better than anyone. But I don't know what I feel like there's so many people who have been dealt the wrong card and who are in situations that it's not in their control to be. And this tendency of ours to separate ourselves from one another is very, very evil, in my opinion. And this is something that I see all the time, the way that the German people, Austrian people at the table um, talk about and not with and not yeah, that's something that I see very often, and I've never felt that there's a difference. So it is ridiculous, you know.
Yes, 100%. I totally see it. And oppression and kind of like exclusion comes in many forms. And in every situation, we are somehow the excluded person. Maybe in another person, in another situation, you are not, but in particular situations, you are excluded. So it
Exactly.
it goes in a cycle. It really goes in a cycle. So
Yeah.
yes, please continue.
No, and also the fact that it's never it doesn't always have to be obvious and very outrageous, you know. It can be hurtful even if it's elegant and we're talking about the good things, and what even if you're masking it, it's
Yes.
the undertone is obvious.
Exactly. And you're talking about even people were like talking about him, although he was in their face. And at the same time, they were praising him in ways that didn't feel like he was on equal level. Like they were like having this great refugee trope, like, wow, look at him. He's great. But he's also human and he has flaws. This is why he opened up to Lena,
Yeah.
someone who probably came in with, yes, she was from an haute bourgeois kind of like background, but at the same time, in that particular moment, they connected on an equal level. And this is what I
Yes,
loved.
yes.
Their scenes in the forest were just beautiful, seriously.
Thank you.
So, okay, so your writing partner and also your muse for two films, like why her specifically? She played Lena. What did she portray in Lena that you saw in her? Is she your muse's director?
She's sort of my muse, yes. She's a very good friend. I love her as an actress. She's incredibly raw, and she's very smart, which is very she's incredibly smart. And the funny thing is that she's the opposite of Lena in reality. She has nothing at all to do with Lena. She is this extrovert, always making a joke, always cracking. She's not Lena at all. So the fact that she did manage to portray her this way
Proves
was
her
even
brilliance.
more inspiring. Yeah.
Yes.
It was a difficult role for her, but she played it beautifully because I'm more like Lena than she is, and I like my characters to show me the way that I am in a way. And so she worked with me beautifully, and she understood what she had to do because Elena is more closed off. She's more protective of her inner world. She's less inclined to be vulnerable. But at the same time, you see that there's a soft interior there, you know?
Yes.
And yeah, she was the perfect for the part. I never doubted her for a second.
I feel like this is also very like it totally makes sense. We us as writers, we want an actor to portray the characters that we have on paper, and those characters carry parts of us, like it or not. So that
Yes,
actor comes in with a different vibe, a different personality, because they're actors. They have a completely different life of their own. So they take our introverts and put their extroversion on the shelf, then portray that introversion from a different angle. So it totally
yes,
makes
yes,
sense.
yes.
This is why it's so beautiful. Okay. So, my last question, Sarah, is which was the most difficult scene to shoot? And which was a scene where you were like taking a step back and realizing, wow, this is magic. I even didn't expect it to be like that.
What a wonderful question. This is such a wonderful question. So it was a difficult shoot, but it was filled with beautiful moments. The one that was very difficult to shoot, the forest scenes with Rafi and the driving of the car, if you remember, through the fog. Those two were on the same day, and the location was so far away from base camp that we had in those 12 hours we had 2 hours for driving back and forth for lunch for it started raining. I had 6 hours to shoot them both, so
Wow.
it was very intense, and it was a difficult day, but it worked out great. And the moment that I remember we were on the boat. We were shooting coming out of the cave, and it was just a small crew: me, my DP, my first AD, and a few people, grip and electric, and my script supervisor. And there was this moment of perfect silence when the boat started moving and we were looking at the screen. And it was very spiritual. That was a very spiritual moment that I think it was 100% happiness, you know, when you just look at the screen and you feel like you're telling the truth, which is not a thing that's very often, but I crave that feeling all the time, and I hope that I will be able to have at least one or two moments every shoot. But sometimes you just everything aligns perfectly, and you just see something more than just the reality, you know?
You capture the truth on screen finally, and
Yes,
it's 100%. This is when magic happens.
yes, 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 it is.
Sarah, thank you so much. I had a great conversation with you. I hope you had also a great time.
Thank you so much. Your questions were beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.